Hi, welcome back to my channel, Moving with Meaning. I'm Krystal B. Author, blogger, podcaster, and life coach. Today, we're going to talk a little bit about a life coaching principle that I have, which is presentation. We're going to talk a little bit about the difference between reputation and representation and the impacts that presentation has had on me personally and how I've been kind of embodied that and carried that on throughout my life. Now, if that is something of interest with you, go ahead and stick around. All right, this is so awesome. So I'm really excited about this particular topic today. But let's first go ahead and put a little distinction between the other two terms. So reputation is how you define, your narrative and stand out in this competitive and crowded landscape. Essentially, what you are known for in delivering performance, how you get along with others, and the service that you provide. Just like your brand. Representation, though, however, is the presence of diversity in visible areas of success. Key there. So, holding positions such as in the government, executives in large, well-known corporations, or simply just in your own community owning businesses. It's an innate relatability, if you will, of seeing someone who looks like you achieving positions of success, which imbues that same spirit of accomplishment in your demographic. Very important. But presentation is what we are here to talk about today, and this is how you physically connect with someone, how you approach someone maybe on a day-to-day basis, but how your engagement really influences how they see you, how they perceive your position, and basically can really help boost up that reputation. So how about this? I'll give you an example of something like that has happened with me, or at least where I have seen presentation in action and how that has influenced me to basically make that part of my day-to-day interactions and engagements with anyone that I meet. So I worked in a consulting firm for about 8 years before I created my own consulting firm. And during that time, this is probably about the third year, I believe, that I was in there. So it's pretty early on. So the way consulting works is like you interview to be in the consulting firm, and then these projects come together, and there are certain things that go into creating this team, okay? And then they have to have bodies to fill these positions that they've created for this team to finish that. And what they do is, in order to do that, they go into the resource pool at the company, and then they look for talent that matches the responsibilities and characteristics that they want this particular role to kind of embody. And then once they select you, they kind of shortlist you, but they interview you. So yeah, you get interviewed again all day long in these just to be accepted onto these projects. So I ended up being interviewed and got accepted to be the project lead. I did not realize that this project was as big as it was, that it held the amount of work that it was. I didn't know it was going to be as big as it was. Let's just say that. Let's just leave it at that. So what happened is, when I touched ground on the client site, the guy directly above me, so there were two leads that were above me. One, I only saw him like once a week at a status meeting, so I only saw him 1 hour a week, okay? The other one, I saw him infrequently, but he was there. But pretty much I was running the show day to day. But the individual who I saw, the one that I saw every now and then, he was the one that greeted me and kind of welcomed me and kind of showed me our area and introduced me to the team. And then he kind of said, hey, here's where you're going to be sitting at. I'll be right back. Like, I have to go do whatever. So I'm just kind of like, okay, I'm just sitting here. And this is like not a dig to him, because I would realize this, and you'll see this later in the story. I did the same thing when I had to bring somebody new. It's just that that's how much work was going on. We just had to prioritize. So I'm sitting there. I am sitting in this queue. I'm not doing anything. probably just unloading my laptop and stuff and just kind of getting things set up or whatever, waiting for waiting for him to get back. This lady comes over and she says, how about if you're free, if you don't have anything to do, I can kind of walk you around and show you around, like, you know, and we can go and grab breakfast. It's on me, don't worry about it, you know, whatever. And I'm like, yeah, sure. I mean, who doesn't need to know where the bathrooms are, right? We chatted up. She showed me, like, she did show me around and everything like that. The way that she came at me made me think, oh, like she's a lead on maybe a different project or something. Like maybe I report to her some kind of way, because the way she was just proactive in engaging with me and, you know, treating me to breakfast and stuff like that. Nobody's ever done that. No one. Even people who are on, like, you know, a welcome committee that welcomes new people have never done anything like that before. So this is like, I'm looking at this like, wow, okay. You know, I would expect someone, obviously from a leadership position, to do that. So I thought I would kind of work for her or something. It wasn't until my boss got us all into a room to kind of debrief us and kind of say, okay, hey, here's Krystal, she's your lead. These are the folks that work for you. And she was one of them, and I'm looking at her like, and she's like, hey, you know, like, she's like, great, you know, all this good stuff. And, you know, oh, we already met, you know, and this and stuff. But I mean, in the back of my head, I'm thinking, okay, well, this was good, okay. So time went on, and we had a particular individual that he was not performing well, and we were getting complaints from the client. So we put him on a development plan to try to, you know, get him to get on board and do work. So what he ended up doing, we moved him out of his own cube, and he basically had to sit with me. Like, this was like a micromanaging type of situation, which I was super uncomfortable with. I am not a micromanager. There's too many things that I have going on. I don't have time to, like, I looked at it as babysitting, right? Because I'm like, I'm doing something wrong if I give out instruction. I watch you do some things from time to time. I do some corrections. Like, if you're constantly making the same mistake, is it me? The explanation I'm giving you, is the work too hard? Is it that you just don't want to do it? Tell me which one, whichever one it is. We're not making it happen. He was sitting in my cubicle with me, and the same woman came over, and she said, hey, can I talk to you for a second, Krystal? You know, and I said, yeah, sure. So I went to talk to her, and I thought something was wrong. So I was like, hey, what's going on? You know, what do you need from me? And, you know, and she was like, oh, nothing. I just, I can take him. I can, you don't need to manage him like that. I can do that. He, you know, and he can sit in the office with me. You can have the space and all your space back and stuff. You know, you're a lead. You don't need to do all that. I was like, oh, it's fine. You know, he's my responsibility. She's like, no, no. You're our lead. I'm here to help you in whatever capacity. I'm not doing anything, you know, or whatever. I can guide him. Okay, you know, please let me do this for you. So even there, I was like, gosh, who would do that? Like, that's not something easy to do, right? So she took him on board, but it didn't matter. We ended up having to replace him, and so I brought on another young woman, and we are still friends today too. I mean, very close friends. We still have each other's phone number. We talk. This is like a embrace friend. This is a really close individual to me. Okay. But I didn't know her at the time like that, but she was very qualified, to me, overqualified. So we brought her on, and guess what I did? I did the same thing that my boss did, which was, hey, quickly introduce her to the team and say, hey, here's your area, I'll be right back. You know what the other lady did? You know, she came back and went and introduced, you know, treated her to breakfast or lunch or whatever time it was at that time, showed her around and everything. So after a while, we had all got real comfortable with each other, because now our team is intact. Now we're like with the team that we need to be with. And we had gotten used to having lunches together, team lunches, and just enjoying that time. And so the new gal that I had brought on, new lady, she said to the other one, she said, you know, when I first got here, I thought you were our lead. And she was like, really? And then I go, you know what? So did I. And she's like, really? She's like, but your role was the lead. I was like, yeah, I know. I thought you were leading a whole nother team or something. Like, I didn't know. I was like, there, the way you came, when you came up there talking about, let me introduce you to these people, let me show you around and treat you here. Like, nobody does that. And she's just like, really? I'm like, no, you made if you can make an impression on someone to the point where you mistake them to be your boss, you're doing some good stuff, baby. You know what I mean? And hitting them in a positive way. Okay, so I love that, and to this point, that's something that I do. That is something that I do now. I mean, it was a challenge at first because I'm naturally an introvert. Like, I don't want to talk to people. I want to be by myself, work. Like, don't talk to me. I don't want small talk, nothing like that. But I'll give you another example too, with presentation. But this one isn't so much about physical engagement, but about maybe your tone of voice or how you give praise and accolades to others who do work for you, do well on a day-to-day basis. Okay, so one particular day I was on the same project. I was having a bad day, and my lead, he was like, oh, I'm gonna go take a smoke break, and or whatever, and he was like, can you come with me? Now, I don't smoke or anything like that, so I'm kind of like, I don't want this stuff blowing up in my, but I was like, sure, I was in a bad mood anyway, so he was like, no, we gotta express, see what's going on. So I was just like expressing to him, like, just like I have lots of stuff going on, this and that, all this other stuff. So finally, I stopped, and he said, okay, and these are all valid. He was like, everything that you're saying is all valid, but what I want to tell you is your mood and how you speak with your team and like the tone that you have, that reflects on your team. So if you have a happy tone of voice and a happy mood, your team's going to be happy. If you have a down tone and a down mood, your team's going to be down. Their performance is going to be low as well. So you have to be mindful of how you sound when you are speaking to them, because even though you're upset about something or you're disappointed, it has nothing to do with them. They have no idea. They have no idea that it's not them. You're not telling them. You're just talking to them and telling them work, or do these things or whatever else. You're not telling them they're doing a good job. You're not telling them any of that kind of stuff. So make sure, because I'm looking like, well, did somebody say something to you? He was like, no, I'm not. See, there you go. And I was like, well, where are you getting? He was like, because you feeling down like that is making me feel this way. So I was like, oh, okay. So I said, okay. So what ended up happening is the next time, which was that evening that I had to talk to the team, I was like, good morning. And they were like, oh, hey, everything good? I was like, yeah, how are you guys doing today? Did you guys have a good evening? Or, good night or whatever else? And you enjoy your families? And they're like, oh, yeah, we have a good time. I said, okay, so let's talk about what we're going to do today. And then I would take them through that. But again, I made sure to be cognizant of my voice. Okay, I want to be, I don't want to say like I was just like over here like some kind of bobblehead, like, all like over exaggerating. The happiness, it was genuine happiness. But at the end, I said, okay, and before I let you guys go, I want to make sure that I let you know that I appreciate the work that you're doing. I think you're doing a phenomenal job. Like, I couldn't be happier with you guys. I trust you guys with everything that I say that I'm doing. I'm pleased with the work that you're doing. And if there's anything that you need from me, make sure you give me a call. Don't hesitate to reach out. And their response was like, oh, really? And I was like, yeah, why would you think? And they're like, oh, well, we didn't know, you seemed a little stressed lately, and we thought we were probably doing some things wrong, and there's some corrections. And I was like, no. I said, that was my fault. And, I said that was my stress. And I don't want you guys to feel the things that I'm having to deal with. So I'm working on that, and I want to make sure that you guys know that you're doing a good job. And so that was one team, and I had I don't know, 3-4 teams that I talked to separately that I did this with. So just what I did there, I had to do that 3 more times. So now I'm like, woo, okay, that's a lot for an introvert, but I noticed that the performance and the productivity of that team skyrocketed. They started working very well together. They loved the praise. And to be honest with you, I'm not gonna lie to you, I thrive off of the praise and accolades and recognition that my bosses give me. So why would I think they would want anything the same? You know what I mean? And so you don't think about those things. And so it took someone having to point that out to me. It took me having to say, okay, let me entertain that and actually implement that, and then see the fruits of the labor of that, right? Not only that, but the emotional security that these individuals felt for me. They wanted to make sure that they were doing everything correctly. I mean, I was over the moon, wide-eyed, like, wow, I had no idea. If that's anything that I want to say to you guys, it's just presentation, all right? And that does so much for your reputation. It really does. Even so, it does a lot for representation. Nobody wants to be like, what if I'm the only interaction that they've probably had with the black female or whatever, you know what I mean? And this is what they get. I don't want them thinking the next person that they get with is, you know, who happens to be you know, the same demographic or whatever else, and they're like, ugh, here we gonna go with this, you know. So it all connects together. And so I really just, this was something that was very near and dear to me. This was a video that I really wanted to put together because I think that it is so impactful, it's so meaningful, and it's so insightful. Oh my goodness, it's so rewarding, self-rewarding to you, but it's rewarding to those who receive those kinds of words of endearment and words of appreciation. So if this is great material that you like to hear more about, maybe you heard about some stuff in the past where I didn't have this, and some of those scenarios, or you must hear some other future scenarios of things related to presentation, let me know. Otherwise, I'm gonna just keep on throwing these episodes out there and keep this series going. But for sure, I appreciate all of you guys for your views. I appreciate you guys for subscribing and commenting. Really appreciate the engagement. But as always, if you want, you know, a one-on-one call, like I said, go to movingwithmeaning.com, schedule a discovery call on the life services page. I will respond to you. We can get that bad boy set up, and you can decide for yourself if we are a fit or not. Doesn't matter, because it's a win-win anyway. And as always, keep moving. See you guys in the next video.